All right, today, we're not just talking about ideas. We're actually building something. Think of this as the blueprint for creating a powerful innovation engine inside your own organization. An engine designed to do one thing: get your best ideas out of the lab and into the real world.
So let's kick things off with the question that, I think we've all seen happen. You have this brilliant idea, right? A total breakthrough technology. It's just got so much potential. But then, nothing. It just gets stuck. It never actually makes it out of the lab. Why does that keep happening?
Well, the truth is, innovation just isn't a solo sport anymore. I mean, that classic image of the lone genius tinkering in a garage, it's pretty much a thing of the past. Today's world is just too complex, too fast, and frankly, too expensive for any one company to do everything by themselves. If you want to win, you've got to look beyond your own four walls.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to walk through the 6 key steps to build this engine. We'll start with the foundation, find our parts, check for quality, assemble the whole thing, talk about maintenance, and then, the best part, see what it can do. All right, Section 1, the innovation imperative. Let's call this laying the foundation. Before we start grabbing our tools, we need to be crystal clear on why we're even building this thing.
And let's get really clear on our objective here. This isn't just about, going to conferences and shaking hands. The whole point is to systematically find and evaluate partners who can literally accelerate your R&D. We're talking about gaining a real, measurable competitive advantage. It all comes down to speed and that winning edge.
Okay, that brings us right to our second step, mapping your partners, or as I like to call it, sourcing your materials. I mean, if you're building a high-performance engine, you need the best parts, right? So where do you find them?
The thing is, the landscape of potential partners is huge, and they all offer something a little different. You've got universities, which are absolute powerhouses for that really early fundamental research. Then there are research labs with that super deep, specialized expertise. Startups, they bring the speed, the agility, that disruptive new tech. And of course, established tech providers give you scale and crucial tools. Oh, and you can't forget about government programs. They can be a goldmine for funding and unique resources.
All right, so you've got your map of all the potential suppliers. Now comes maybe the most important step of all, picking your winner. This is our quality control phase. You can't just bolt any old component onto your engine. It has to be the right one.
And this is where things get really interesting, because not all of these factors are created equal. You have to decide what's most important for your project. Is it all about raw research talent? Or maybe what you really need is strategic fit, how perfectly they align with where you're trying to go. Actually sitting down and weighting these criteria. That's how you make a smart, objective call instead of just, going with your gut feeling.
Let's make this real with a common dilemma. Look at this scorecard. You've got partner A, who has super high technology readiness. That means their tech is pretty much ready to go right now. You can see an impact almost immediately. But then you have partner B. Their tech isn't quite as mature, but they are a perfect strategic fit for your long-term vision. See the tension? This is the kind of tough choice you have to make. Are you playing the short game or the long game?
So you've done your quality control, you've picked your winner. Now it's time to actually start assembling the engine. And that brings us to Section 4, defining the deal. This is where we break out the wrenches and start bolting everything together with some solid agreements.
It really boils down to 3 main steps. First, you've got to secure the funding and resources. Simple question. Who's paying for what, and who's providing the people and the tech? Second, and this one is absolutely critical, you have to define the IP ownership. Who owns the awesome new thing you're creating together? You have to figure that out up front. And finally, you wrap it all up and make it official with the legal agreements.
Okay, the engine is assembled, but our job isn't done. You wouldn't build a race car and then just walk away, right? That's where Section 5 comes in, managing for success. This is all about the ongoing maintenance and operation. Everything you need to do to keep this engine humming along at peak performance.
So how do you actually know if it's working well? Well, you've got to have a dashboard. And on that dashboard are your key performance indicators, your KPIs. We're talking things like, how many new projects have we kicked off together? Are we filing new patents? And maybe most importantly, are we actually moving that technology readiness level forward? In other words, is the idea getting closer to becoming a real product? These aren't just vanity metrics. They're the vital signs of your entire partnership.
And look, let's be real. Things can and do go wrong. That's why a good maintenance plan is also a risk plan. You need to ask the tough questions ahead of time. What's our game plan if there's a disagreement over IP? What happens if the budget starts to balloon? Being proactive means you spot these risks, you figure out how bad they could be, and you create a playbook to deal with them before they blow up the whole project.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, the most exciting part. Section 6, the strategic payoff. We've gone through all this work. We've built the engine. We've maintained it. So what's the output? What does this thing actually do for us?
This is the whole reason we're here. We're talking about the potential for groundbreaking new products. We're talking about real technology breakthroughs that could completely reshape your market. A stronger, more valuable portfolio of patents. Heck, even developing your own key talent along the way. But maybe the biggest prize of all? You build these lasting, long-term relationships that become a wellspring of innovation for years and years. So, instead of a simple summary, I want to leave you with the one core question that this whole blueprint is designed to answer. It's the question you should be taking back to your team, to your organization. Which innovation partners out there right now hold the key to your next big breakthrough? That's the billion-dollar question, and this framework is how you start to find the answer.